Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Humor Mill TV. Frank Holder sitting here with one of my favorite comedic actresses. Now I have to add actress in there. Miss Coca Brown.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good, Frank. How you doing, babe?
I'm doing great. First of all, we all know you're in a new Tyler Perry film, which we're going to get to in just a second.
Okay.
Let's talk about the journey from being just a black woman who jumps into comedy, what that was like.
You know, this hasn't been, no overnight success. I've been doing stand-up comedy now for 17 years. Started in Washington, D.C. area. I was mentored by the great godfather of comedy in D.C., ourself, Dr. Lejman. This has been a journey that has not been a crystal stair, but I've gotten, I've had some bumps and bruises, but in all, I've enjoyed the journey because now that I'm at this point, I can enjoy it. I can sit back and say, all the hard work, all the sacrifice, even the bumps and bruises was worth it, and realize that you're going against not just your female counterparts, you're going against your male counterparts. And funny is funny. It doesn't matter whether you have breasts or not. And to keep some integrity, don't be so quick to define yourself as this fashion icon or this sex pot, because then you're giving Hollywood a very limited possibility with you. When they put us in front of that camera as an actress, they want to be able to, make us into what they need us to be. Sometimes you have to be that, blank canvas for them. And if you're giving them such a definitive personality and sense of just how you look, you're kind of messing up the plethora of opportunities you can have. You can be fly all you want, you can be sexy all you want, but make sure your material and your talent match it.
Has Hollywood been fair to you?
Well, I can say Hollywood's been fair to me, yes. Stand-up comedy, that's a whole other story. I pay much homage to sisters like Loretta Devine, Jennifer Lewis, because those sisters have opened the door for a sister like me, that black comedic actress that's not a size 2, that's not, light skinned with green eyes, that's not, considered the sex symbol. I'm the funny one, and I don't have to be sloppy or fugly looking. You know what I'm saying? I can still be attractive and not be a size 2 and be funny. So Hollywood's been very good to me so far, definitely.
Now, you did touch on what my next question was going to be.
What's that?
Is comedy been fair to you? Because it seems, let's be real. It seems that certain black women who are in comedy get to a certain level and basically, top out. You know what I mean? And then there's maybe a handful who break through. Obviously now with your success, you're one of the very few who's broken through. So during that journey, because it's been 17 years, would you say that comedy's been fair?
Stand-up comedy has been a love-hate. I tend to call stand-up comedy Ike Turner because it kind of whoops my butt a little bit. I remember the first time I got a standing ovation, and I had a male comic come up to me afterwards and said, "Get ready for the hate." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Because you just got funnier than half the men in this business." And I hear that a lot. I go into a lot of comedy clubs where I may be going up third, and all of a sudden my name's been scratched out and I'm put dead last. And I'm like, why? And they're like, okay, am I trying to follow all that? And it's like, but who cares? I'm a female, put me in the middle. Let's even out the tone of the show. But from what I've been told, and I do actually pride myself in this, I don't write just female humor. I just don't write black humor. I write funny. I write my experiences, and I don't put a color or a sex on it. And that, I guess, comes across when I'm on stage. But it's funny, most of my beefs, if you want to call that, have been with males. And it's because, they got mad because they couldn't follow. Why you gotta do all that? I ain't trying to follow all that standing ovation. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, boo-boo, I ain't scared to follow nobody. That's why once again, I pay a lot of homage to comics like Talent, J.B. Smoove, Kool Bubba Ice. When I was growing up in the game and I was like doing the rooms in New York, Talent and them wouldn't let me go up front because I was a female. They wanted to make me a fierce force to be reckoned with just because I was funny. They didn't want me to just fall into that trap of being a female comic. I remember one night being at the Boston Comedy Club, and Talent and Will Savence had a room there, and they put me up dead last after Will, Talent, Mike Epps, J.B. Smoove. I'm in the back in tears. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And Talent was like, no fear. You are funny, and you should fear going up after no one. And I've had that mentality ever since. It's been a curse and a blessing because I don't get on a lot of tours because, one, I guess at the time I wasn't big enough to be the headliner, but then I've got cats saying I don't want to follow all that. So it's almost like I would have been better off if I wasn't as funny and as determined to be a funny comedian, not just a funny female comedian, but I wasn't gonna change who I was. My story is my story. Who I am on stage is who I am. And it's kept me off a lot of stuff, but the same token, it didn't stop me from getting where I am now.
Great point. Now, let's fast forward. You hit a lot of clubs. Obviously, you did a lot of tours. Now, we see you on the big silver screen. Tell everybody what the process was of you getting that first phone call to get cast in a new Tyler Perry film.
You know, actually it all started, you know, I was already on Tyler Perry's For Better or Worse, and I didn't know that Tyler had seen my stand-up like a year before I got that. So when I came in the room to audition for him for Better or Worse, it was a matter of whether I could act, because he already enjoyed my stand-up and liked, you know, who I was on stage. And luckily for me, when I came to LA, I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be a comedic actress. So I threw myself into every acting class, every comedic acting class that I could find, so that when that opportunity presented itself, I was prepared. You know, a lot of comics come to LA and they just hitting all these stages, but you're not honing your craft, because it's a whole different, you know, ball of worms when you get in front of that camera and they say action, than you waiting for a light to come up while you're telling jokes. You know, it's two different genres. And I know that I had to be prepared for that. So we were shooting the second season of For Better or Worse. I was actually 8 months pregnant. And Tyler was like, you know, came up to me, we were on set. He goes, how long is it gonna take you to pop that baby out and heal? And I said, oh, 8 weeks if we're lucky. He goes, I got something for you. Fast forward 4 months later, I get a call from my agent, actually going to shoot the Progressive commercial, telling me that Tyler has written this movie, Single Moms Club. He's written a role for me, do I want it? I'm like, hell yeah, I want it. And that's how it happened.
Now, Single Moms Club is obviously about single mothers, and a lot more into it, but I mean, I know you can relate because you are a single mother. Now, when you were filming that movie, how much of that to you was hitting home and how much of it was obviously on screen? Besides the fact being a waitress, the obvious.
I never worked in the Waffle House, right. But you know, a lot of it was hitting home for me, because during the time that I was shooting that movie, my husband and I had decided to separate, which eventually led to our divorce. So I had a lot of emotion during that time, because I was realizing that I'm playing what I'm about to become. Because I knew that we were separating, you know, he was, you know, saying, okay, well, you keep the baby. And so I was becoming a single mother while we were shooting that. So it was a big transition. So a lot of the emotion, the anger, the frustration, even towards Terry's character, not wanting to deal with anybody else, and that whole thing, you know, of being frustrated when you have to do it all by yourself. A lot of that was real. That was my own personal pain and emotion coming through in that, because I was living that. I was becoming a single mom as we were filming.
Being that now you obviously was a single mother, you've got a couple other projects on. Everybody saw you and they were loving you. I mean, I've been hearing things about that. Can you tell everybody out there about what your life has been like now since the movie's been released?
It's been a whirlwind. I mean, my life pretty much changed right before my eyes in a matter of a week. It did not happen overnight for me, but it almost felt overnight, because I went from being, I think that's her, to walking into Target and go, oh my God, you Coca Brown. I'm like, ooh, okay, you know, and I'm taking it all in. I'm enjoying the moment. You know, I'm still humble. I'm still just, you know, Farrah Brown from Newport News, Virginia. You know, I am who I am. But I'm enjoying the moment. I'm enjoying the journey. And this is all about taking care of my son. I'm the first woman that he's ever gonna love. I set the precedence for any woman that he chooses. So at this point, everything I do, whether it just be greeting someone on the street who recognizes me, to the roles I take, I have to think about him and how he's gonna see his mama.
Okay, can you tell everybody what you got coming?
We know we're getting ready to shoot a new season of For Better or Worse. I'm really excited about that for OWN. And I'm also in the new Martin Lawrence, Kelsey Grammer sitcom for FX called Braddock and Jackson. I'm really excited about this role because I'm playing a 60-year-old woman. Wow. I'm actually, Thelma Hopkins from Family Matters plays Martin's mother in the show, and I play her best friend, Miss Precious. So I'm really excited because I now get to really step out and be my mother, because I'm pretty much being Shirley. Right. You know, and I got my little wig I call Edith. So that comes out this summer, really excited about. And also too, you know, doing some tour dates, and you know, I'm on Parental Discretion on Nick at Night, Nick Mom, with Stephanie Wilder Taylor. I'm excited about that because it's a round table with moms talking about being a mom. And some other projects, got a couple of film, movie, you know, projects I'm looking at right now, reading some scripts. So I've got some things brewing over here. And I'm getting ready to shoot my 1 hour special, so I'm excited about that too.
I was gonna ask you about that. But thank you for taking all the time. How can they follow you?
Oh, you guys can follow me on Twitter under Coca, C-O-C-O-A, Brown22. You can also follow me on Instagram under Coca Brown, One Funny Mama. That's ONEFUNNYMOMMA.
Thank you for taking all the time. Another edition of the Humor Mill TV. Frank Holder. Take care.